Alright, let's get into the places that I've been, that we both been to. One of the spots that I went to, this was actually a solo trip. This was to the Devil's Tree. The Devil's Tree. A solitary oak tree with some dead limbs that grows in an undeveloped field on Mountain Road in Somerset County, New Jersey. Local legends say the tree is cursed, and that if you damage, disrespect, or even touching it in some instances, bad luck will follow. People in the past have urinated on it, vandalized it, or even spoke bad remarks towards the tree, which has led to some harm for these people, usually in the form of a car accident or major breakdown after they leave. There are other legends surrounding the tree as well. A common claim is that this was a popular headquarters for the KKK here in Bernard Township, and that the tree was used to lynch Africans and rebellious slaves back in the colonial times. There is another claim stating that a farmer hung himself from the tree after killing his family, and that if anyone tried to cut down the tree, will come to an untimely end. Legend also says that if one gets too close to the tree or touches it, they will get chased away by a black Ford pickup truck and then suddenly disappear after a certain point. Also, if you touch the tree, your hands will turn black if you try to eat at a restaurant. In the winter, the ground beneath the tree is apparently free from snow, no matter how much has fallen in the recent days. The tree, or even this boulder known as Heat Rock, are said to be extremely warm to the touch regardless of the season or the time of day, claiming they are a portal to hell. For a while, the township started to make plans to develop the land, requiring the tree's removal, but later decided to keep it and try to protect it. But the most they did was at one point put a chain fence around the tree, following the vandalism to it. Now, the Devil's Tree is a place that I always wanted to go to. It was a place we didn't get a chance to go to back in the day. We always talked about it, though.
We always wanted to go there.
So it was really great that I was finally able to check this spot out. It was extremely easy to find the exact location of the Devil's Tree. In fact, if you type in the Devil's Tree, at least on your iPhone GPS, it pops up as like a landmark there that you could visit. Like a tourist attraction, exactly, yes. There's a neighborhood development right across the street from there, and that's where I parked. I got out of my car, but before leaving my car, I made sure I didn't have any flat tires or anything to make sure everything was all good. Because I was there with one specific goal, with that tree, you know?
To try to debunk it or to see if it's real.
Exactly. So I crossed the street to find an overground wonderland of trees, shrubs, weeds, a whole bunch of grass type things.
Something bad is about to happen to me. I don't know what, but
in the middle of all the wilderness, there was the beginning of a very skinny, narrow dirt trail at the very beginning. And to my surprise, the Devil's Tree was just a couple of steps into the trail. And I was like, okay, this was too easy, you know? This was way too easy to find.
It's like, alright, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah, exactly, like what's about to happen right now? In fact, I didn't even think it was the actual tree at first, because it was so close to the entrance and it was way too easy to find. Because if you think about it, a lot of these places we go to, it's like there's a little bit of like exploring and trying to find exactly where something is.
Most of these places you have to work to find.
So I didn't think it was the actual tree at first, so I continued walking the trail, but didn't find anything else. This trail, it's I'm telling you, dude, it's so narrow like this, narrow dirt trail, bro. And all the trees, like, weeds were hitting me left and right on my shoulders, bro. That's how overgrown it was. Since I didn't find anything else, I went back to the first tree that I found that I suspected to be the Devil's Tree, and started to inspect. The tree had graffiti all over it, but the coolest part about it was that it seemed to have been chopped up a little from like an axe or something like that.
People are brave, dude.
But there was still one other thing that I needed to debunk while I was there, and that was, what would happen if I touched the tree?
Dun, dun, dun.
There was some hesitation right before touching it,
along with some goosebumps and butterflies in my stomach. But simply, I just said, fuck it. Weirdly, the wind started to blow right as I touched the tree, which I found a little weird.
That is a little weird.
Maybe it was just in my head too much, but there was a gust of wind that happened right as I touched it, I swear to God. And I was like, oh, okay.
Maybe the Lord of Light was protecting you.
Maybe the Lord of Light was fighting whatever demons was coming my way.
Maybe.
Not gonna lie, visiting here was a bit underwhelming, but I'm still glad I came. I will say the ride home was a bit nerve-wracking, though.
I can imagine.
I did have the feeling something bad was gonna happen, like a car crash, getting a flat tire, or even worse, something bad has happened and I find out when I get home, you know? Anything like that. But thankfully nothing happened. Everything's all good.
Thank God.
I am glad I touched the tree, but at the same time, you know,
Don't touch the tree.
maybe not touch the tree.
Frank could have just got lucky.
Yeah, you might not be so lucky for those that want to go there. The place that I went to right after the Devil's Tree was the Devil's Tower.
The Devil's Tower was built in 1910 in Alpine, New Jersey by a billionaire sugar importer by the name of Manuel Rianda. Before it received its infamous name, it was originally known as Rio Vista. The tower was built and dedicated to Rianda's wife, Harriet Rianda, who was originally buried on nearby land, but was later moved to Brookside Cemetery in Englewood. The rumor is that the tower was built so his wife could look out to the New York City skyline, while others believed it was built for religious purposes. But even after both their deaths in the mid-1900s, many believe Harriet's spirit still lives on in the tower. The tower was connected to their home by an underground tunnel, and on one unfortunate night, Harriet was looking at the top of the tower to find Manuel with another woman. Being distraught from this reveal, she jumped off the top of the tower to her death. Since the rumored suicide, there have been several reports of hauntings, including those who have been pushed by unseen things. There has even been reporting of strange noises from the tower, and because of this, Manuel locked it up, removed the elevator, and filled the tunnel connecting to the home, stating, quote-unquote, "Nobody will ever go up here again." Since then, the structure has been renamed the Devil's Tower. Witnesses who have visited the location hear noises, smell perfume, and even seen Harriet Rianda's spirit as a shadowy figure in the windows. Some have even said if you drive or walk backwards around the tower a number of times, Manuel's wife, or even the devil, will appear. It seems like this tower is here to stay as well, as there were plans to demolish it by the town, but activities were halted and aborted after several workers fell to their death. It's like someone is trying to protect the tower and keep the legend alive.
They were an hour apart away from each other.
You would think they're probably like right next to each other, but they're not.
Right, they're both homes of the devil, you know?
I didn't go to this with him. I do know a decent amount about this one, though. I've done a lot of research on this one. This one, when I was younger, it interests me a lot.
When I got there, first off, the development that the Devil's Tower is in, it's gorgeous, bro.
I wish I saw that.
We're talking mansions on mansions on mansions. Right when you enter the development, you drive maybe a little less than a minute and you already see the tower. It's extremely tall, very historic looking, and most importantly, in my opinion, looks haunted. Don't get me wrong though, the tower was in great condition, no graffiti, no litter or anything like that. But I also quickly found out why, as there's several security cameras all around that tower. So they really make it a big deal to preserve that structure.
I feel like part of the reason why, not just for the structure itself, but for the development that it's in.
There is this huge overarching gate in the bottom middle of the tower. It was locked up so no one can enter. There was also a sign next to the tower as well, as that's when I realized the tower is actually a memorial clock tower. As I looked up, there were some windows that were open, which piqued my interest. It's still very ominous looking, and it just gives creepy vibes, man. It really does. Yeah.
And it definitely looks ominous. Like, it looks very nice, but at the same time, it definitely looks haunted too, like you said.
100%. And also the other thing is too, like, so random for that to even be there in such a nice neighborhood.
Just in the middle of the neighborhood, like